and welcome back to Harrell Homecooking, where we share with you basic, beginning, reproducible recipes for you and your household.
Welcome!
Today we're going to be sharing with you how to make kombucha. Kombucha is a fermented tea that is great for your digestive system. It's delicious, it's fizzy, and you can make it in 100 different ways.
It keeps you regular, folks.
So let's get started.
Megan, why don't you tell us what you need to start this amazing kombucha recipe?
You're gonna need 9 tea bags, you're gonna need 1 cup of sugar, and you're going to need a Scoby. We're gonna talk about what a Scoby is in just a little bit. And then you're gonna need fruit. We're using frozen fruit, as well as ginger and some kiwi.
Also, we need this.
Oh yeah, and to actually create your kombucha, you're gonna need just a few basic things. You're gonna need a big mason jar. You'll need a pitcher with some hot water and some sort of wooden spoon, and that's about it. The one thing you want to really make sure before you get going is you don't want to have any soap or cleaning products on your countertop or inside of any of your jars. You want to make sure you clean them really good, ideally with vinegar and not with Dawn dish soap or something. You can use an all-natural soap, just be sure that you get it super, super clean. Any cleaner is going to also kill your Scoby.
Don't want to kill that Scoby.
One thing we should tell you too is that making kombucha can be anywhere from a 7 to 21 day process. Our process takes 14 days. That's how we like it the best. We actually let it ferment in the jar for 7 days, then we bottle it, and then we let it sit for another 7 days before refrigerating it. Once you refrigerate your kombucha, it stops the fermentation process. The cold will stop it from getting any fizzier or any sweeter. So you want to make sure that you like the taste of it before you stick it in the fridge. So the first thing you're going to do is boil some water. Our teapot boiling on the stove right now. It's almost ready. You're going to pour hot water into a pitcher and put in 9 tea bags. So we can go ahead and prep that now. Today we're using black tea. You can also use green tea. You just want to be sure that you're using real tea and not just herbal teas, because sometimes those aren't going to be strong enough to make your kombucha the way you want. So I would recommend green tea or black tea, and there's a few other on the screen that you could also use too.
Let's get this water boiling, shall we? Oh, all right. We put in the water first. How much water, Meg?
All of it.
All of the water. All right, now we just get to steeping and get to waiting. Steep for 10 minutes.
We just had an absolute emergency. Our pitcher shattered at the bottom. It shouldn't have, because it was not cold, but now we have tea everywhere.
Just make sure you have a better pitcher.
Oh my gosh, can you see the floor, Sonny?
All right, well, okay, so that's actually...
They just came through and saying that here last night, about midnight.
Alright, we're good.
Yeah. Well, we heard them come through and I ran out front and
Cup of sugar.
What are you doing? Boy, lights up and she hasn't even cracked up the beans.
We're gonna stir it to dissolve. And then we're gonna let that come completely to room temperature. You don't want it to be hot. So our tea is ready. Let's do our next step.
So I'm told now I get to do the pouring. So you take your lantern pitcher and you pour the tea into the lantern.
It doesn't really matter how much water is in your tea at this point, because you end up with 12 cups of water total. So this is a Scoby.
The reason I don't know anything about this recipe is because I refuse to be in the room most of the time because I don't like the Scoby Hotel part. It's really gross. But it does make really delicious kombucha, but you just gotta have somebody else to make it for you.
Wow, look at that one.
Beautiful, fatty, alcoholic liver.
So Scoby is SCOBY, which stands for a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. So what happens is when you put your sugar in your tea and then you add in your SCOBY eats the sugar and it creates an effervescent, delicious, very low alcohol content. But if fermented right, it is so good for your gut. It's kind of like eating kimchi or yogurt or sauerkraut or one of those highly fermented foods.
But you can drink it.
Yeah. So this is one Scoby if you want to check it out.
It's not an organ. It just looks like an organ.
And it's normal to have these strings hanging off of it. You only want to worry when you start seeing like really weird black dots or white mold or red mold or something like that. But
where can they get a Scoby? This is an integral part if you're going to have kombucha and you want to make it yourself. You got to have one of these so you can produce the good bacteria for your gut. Where do they get one?
If you have a great health food store in your town, you can probably get one there. We have 3 awesome health food stores. I ordered mine offline. I can put the link down below. It was a great company with an incredible starter Scoby, which was excellent.
Oh, and just so you know, it doesn't stink. It looks like this smells like death, but it just smells kind of vinegary.
There's the one I want to use. I want to use that one. This one is too big and scary looking.
They're all scary looking.
Every single time you put a Scoby into your tea batch, you're going to get a brand new Scoby that's going to form on top. So every batch of tea you make is going to yield you a new Scoby, which is why I have this Scoby Hotel. So we can store them to give them away to friends in case we want to make multiple batches at a time.
We don't have any friends.
Aww.
I mean, we're not giving any away.
So here we go. We're going to drop our Scoby down in here. This Scoby formed in a round jar, which is why it's round. But the next Scoby that forms will be a big square. It's pretty cool. Okay, is that good? All right, welcome back. It's been several hours. We have had an emergency with our 12-year-old German Shepherd, an emergency with our 4-month-old puppy, an emergency with our 3-year-old daughter. It's been quite a day, but here we are. We have our tea and our sugar that has been totally cooled, and then we added our Scoby, and now we're gonna add 2 cups of starter tea. Now, starter tea is actually the liquid from your Scoby Hotel. You can also just buy a kombucha from the store that is completely unflavored. That will work. Or when you order a Scoby from a reputable company, they'll send you a bottle of starter tea. So here it is. It's basically about 2 cups of starter tea. We're gonna pour it in. As you can see, it is vinegary. It's got stuff in it. It is delicious and full of great things for your gut. The next thing we're gonna do is fill it about halfway up. This is usually 2 full batches of kombucha, but we're only doing 1 batch for you today. So this is filtered water. All the water you use really needs to be filtered for this recipe, so you don't have any extra impurities in your water. It really makes sure that your kombucha is gonna end out in the end. So at this point, we're ready to stir just a little bit with our very clean utensil. You're gonna cover it with your cloth, and we're gonna leave it for about 7 days. You're gonna come in and you can give it a sniff, and if it smells a little bit like vinegar, you're ready to move on to the next stage. I'll see you here in about 7 days.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me.
7 days ago, we started our first fermentation of our kombucha, and now we're going to do our second fermentation. We're going to show you how to do that today.
It's time for bottling, and it's time for juicing.
When you flavor kombucha, you're going to need some different fruits, and we highly recommend that you always use ginger and kiwi. Most of the major kombucha companies include kiwi and ginger in all of their kombuchas.
That means the ones that you get at the store that are delicious.
They are delicious.
They all have kiwi in them, so gotta have kiwi.
And we're gonna make ours delicious too. So we are using frozen fruit today. We're going to use frozen mango, frozen strawberries and frozen blueberries, along with our kiwi and ginger. You may use fresh, and you can also use a juicer to make it super simple.
So what, you were just telling them that they don't have to have a juicer, right?
You don't have to have a juicer. In fact, we've done this for a long time without a juicer.
Yeah, you would just put the whole pieces of fruit in the bottle and then just let them ferment, put them in the fridge, and when you were ready, you would then take the cap and kind of, you know, filter the fruit from getting in your...
Because you probably don't want to eat the fermented fruit. It's a little mushy.
Right, so if you have a juicer, it's going to be a lot easier. Pop and drink.
All right.
Let's fire this bad boy up.
It's very rumbling. Okay, so our blueberry juice, this is an entire bag of frozen blueberries, but it's super highly concentrated, so you're only gonna need a little bit for each bottle. Next, we're gonna do our kiwis.
Yeah, you just do it.
It's like a faster than light drive. So what we did was we put the kiwi juice in with the blueberry juice. So we'll now stir that together. And so we won't be having to pour blueberry juice and then kiwi juice in each bottle. We'll just have a single juice source.
A single juice source.
A single juice source.
Let's do,
I don't know.
we've peeled our ginger and now we're ready to stick it in our juicer.
Strawberries.
Where are all the strawberries?
They're right here. Tastes like strawberries.
It's gonna be the best Kombucha we've ever had, Woody. I'm stoked about it.
So we put our puree into a spray bottle.
It's a condiment bottle.
Just makes it super easy to just squirt into each one of your bottles, and it makes it go really fast. This container I got at Walmart. You can also order them off of Amazon, and I'm sure any major store that has kitchen stuff probably has something like this. Get one with a spigot. It makes it super, super easy to load up your bottles with kombucha. And that's what you want, is it to be an easy process so that you continue doing it.
The moment of truth. It makes the moment of truth easier.
Moment of truth. You're always saying the moment of truth.
I don't know why. I didn't
And what's the
realize
other
it
thing
until
you always say? You say,
type situation.
yeah, no.
I didn't realize I said it until you brought it up, so now I'm saying it more.
So we've got our Scoby Hotel. He's been hanging out in our pantry. Look at him. He is full, and look, he's even got a new Scoby on top. Hooray!
He is disgusting.
I love my Scoby Hotel. Here is our Big Daddy.
So we got to take the Scoby out of the tea.
If I can get him. Look how big he is. Ah, he's a beast. He did his job, too.
By providing a helpful amount of probiotics.
All right, so we're going to keep those guys stored in there while we drain our kombucha into our bottles. Every once in a while, you might notice that your spigot starts to get a little bit clogged. That's because there's tiny pieces of Scoby that are clogging it up. And when that happens, you can just pull it out and keep moving. Here, you take this guy.
You say guys a lot.
Well,
Instead of bottle or Scoby or ingredients.
you're gonna wanna make sure to leave a little bit of space on the top for air because this will create more bubbles as it ferments further in your pantry. So we made makes 8 bottles of kombucha for you to drink and 1 bottle of kombucha with no fruit in it to use as a starter tea for your next batch. This ensures it really gets your Scoby going, gets the fermentation happening, and it guarantees that your next batch will be as delicious as your last batch. Now we just have to put the lids on. Let's do it. Who knows how much money we spent on bottled kombucha, and still do occasionally, but this has saved us so much money. A batch of this stuff costs you like maybe less than $10, and you get 16 bottles of kombucha out of it. It's a pretty good deal.
Versus, you know, depending on where you're at, you can spend as much as $4 a bottle on kombucha. So when you twist these on, you do want to have, you know, you don't want to over tighten them, but you do want them to be snug. So know your own strength. You want the pressure. We don't want any extra air leaking out, or you won't have as fizzy of a drink. Now that these bottles are screwed on tight, they go in the pantry.
For
or a cabinet.
Yeah, in a cool, dark place for up to 7 days. You can kind of open one up and see what you think. As soon as you put these guys in the fridge, that fermentation process will stop. So be sure to taste your kombucha before you stick it out in the refrigerator, or it might not be fizzy enough for you yet. We are going to stick ours in the pantry for 3 days and then see how delicious it is after that point. Today we made kombucha.
Over a week process.
Yes, today and last week.
And we'll have to, I guess, wait another week.
Another few days
To
and
see-
try it,
to
and you
try
can
it.
see us drink our own kombucha.
Yeah. So yeah,
So
so it's not the
exciting.
end of the video.
Oh.
We should do that later. It's been a while. This is the finished product, and we're going to open it, and we're going to drink it.
We waited 3 days after we did our second fermentation, and we tasted it, and we wanted to wait a little bit longer. So on the 4th day we tasted it, and it was great. So for whatever reason, whether it was humidity or the batches of fruit that we used, 4 days worked out to be perfect for our second fermentation this time. And sometimes it's 7 days, sometimes it's 3 days. Make it happen, Paul. So we got a lot of fermentation. A whole lot.
It'll still be delicious, but yeah, sometimes you can make it a little bit like champagne.
Take a sip. What do you think?
That's nice.
What do you think about it?
That's good. It's good.
Oh, that's really good. The flavor's really nice. There's a lot of fizz. It's sweet, but not too sweet. It's a little tart.
And it's not just a biotic, but it's a pro, like NBA, NHL, MLB. It's a probiotic. It's what you want.
So in this last episode, we taught you how to make kombucha. You have anything to say, Paul?
Nope.
All right. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Something cliche. See
you
you
next
next time. That looks really delicious. I'm not gonna lie.